Hey everyone, it's Strength here. In today's video, we're going to be going through the top 5 inmates who saved lives. Now these inmates, they're obviously in prison because they did some things. However, it doesn't mean that they aren't ever going to do anything good again. And these prisoners, they show that because when they were in a position where they could save people's lives, they did. And they saved guards, babies, things like that. You're going to love it. Before in this video though, if you guys don't want to go to prison, leave a like on this video, and of course, comment down below and tell me the nicest thing that you've done today. Maybe you haven't done anything nice, but still, think of something. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel, but let's get into this top 5, which is actually a top 7. In the percent spot, we've got some inmates at the right place at the right time. This family, they accidentally locked their baby inside of their SUV along with the keys, and they saw that nearby there were these inmates being, I guess, watched over by some guards and stuff like that. They were low-risk ones, and they were repairing medians. They went over there and asked for help, and luckily enough, one of the inmates was really good at picking car locks, so he did that, and then the baby was saved.
1-year-old Dallas alone, trapped inside her family's SUV. Crowd quickly forms to help, including a group of deputies and work release inmates they supervise. They were repairing medians outside the West Pasco Judicial Center.
Surprisingly, somebody had a wire coat hanger, able to get the door open enough to get it in there, unlock the door.
Unlikely teamwork saves the day.
Moving into 6, we've got 3 inmates who were honored for saving the life of a North Carolina deputy. Now what happened was, these 3, they were working near a highway, and this guy, he was their supervisor, so he was watching them, making sure they were doing their stuff, and didn't run off or anything like that, of course. However, he started stumbling around and looked like he was having some problems or something, and it turns out that he was actually having a stroke. So when he collapsed, these 3 inmates actually went over to help him, and while they did have the opportunity, obviously, to just run off and try to make a run for it and get away, and it's probably not a smart idea to do that because, you know, they're going to get caught and they're probably going to serve more time, but there are definitely some inmates out there who would do that. They decided instead to just use his phone and call for help, and eventually people came and helped him.
Frank Edens Jr. was one of the first who noticed something was wrong when his litter cleanup supervisor, James Smith, was stumbling into a ditch.
Man, just being the guy that he was, as much as he never did anything wrong towards us or anything like that, treated us bad or anything. So, I mean, we see no other reason to try to do anything else crazy or outrageous. So why not help him?
Number 5, going to jail can be pretty daunting for pretty much anybody. It doesn't matter if you're going for a year or 60 years, but obviously, I mean, if you're going for 60 years, you're probably not quite as hopeful. And that's what kind of the situation was here. This inmate, I guess he decided that he just could not do it anymore, and he decided that he wanted to try to commit suicide. So he went up on the ledge or the railing of one of these areas where they are, and he was going to jump off. And it doesn't even seem like he was that high, if I'm honest, but apparently somebody's done this before and has actually died from it in this same exact jail. So he was going to jump, and then a couple other inmates saw what was going on. So they went over and raced and basically grabbed a laundry cart as quickly as they could. It was filled with towels and things like that, stuff that can cushion a fall. And the guy jumped, but they had gotten the laundry cart there in time for him to basically fall into. They moved it over so that he went into it, and all he ended up with was a hurt ankle. It wasn't all that severe at all, and these 3 men are now revered as heroes.
That an inmate climbed out to the ledge on the 2nd floor of a cell block, threatening to jump. That's when Deontay Blackwell, who is also a custodian in the jail, jumped into action.
So I ran over, I grabbed the bin, and I just was like, man, please don't do it.
The other guys were yelling at him not to jump. An inmate does jump, and it's a clean catch.
In the number 4 spot, this one's a little bit different because instead of an inmate saving somebody, it's actually one of the guards. I know, it doesn't fit the list perfectly, but you can suck my nuts, you got a problem with it, alright? Basically, this guard, he was walking around and checking all the cells and stuff like that just to see what was going on, make sure the inmates weren't doing anything crazy, and he looked inside one of these cells and saw that there was an unconscious inmate. The guy wasn't responding. He tried talking to him, that kind of stuff, and realized that this guy had, I guess, tried to commit suicide or something like that. And interesting enough, the staff had just gotten done the previous week going through suicide prevention training. So I guess that kind of worked pretty well. So it was fresh in his mind, and he followed all the correct protocol, got the guy help as quickly as he could, and the guy ended up being saved because of his quick action and quick thinking.
Morris says a deputy was doing rounds last week and noticed an inmate unconscious and unresponsive in his cell. Jail staff had just completed suicide intervention training, and the deputy used what he learned, called for help, and saved the man's life.
Moore says in a perfect world, jail staff would be able to discover potential suicides before they even happen.
1-3, this is one of my favorite clips on this list. This is an old guy reminiscing and telling the story of when an inmate saved his life. This guy, he was working at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary or something like that quite a long time ago, and he was training the attack dogs at this penitentiary. One day, though, he slipped and fell, and one of the dogs attacked him. They started doing some serious damage, and he basically was losing a lot of blood. He tried to get to his car, and when he did, he radioed for assistance, but nobody responded. I guess nobody was on the radios or whatever. Like I said, this was a long time ago, and he saw that there was a nearby convict, this inmate. He yelled at him, and this guy came over, helped him out, carried him all the way to the hospital, and pretty much saved his life. On top of that, the inmate risked his own life because he had to go near the dog to get to him, and also because when he's carrying, a bloody guard, another guard could see this and potentially think, oh my God, he just attacked him or something like that, and maybe get shot at or something. I don't know.
Nobody available, the corrections officer beckoned help from the only person nearby, inmate John Charles Wood.
When they couldn't find anybody to take me, well, I told the inmate to run through the gate. He said, what if we go to shooting? I said, by the time we get gone, he couldn't hit us anyway, so just go run through the gate.
Wood carried the corrections officer into the hospital ER and stayed right by his side. It took 1,000 stitches to put J.W. Martin back together.
Item 2, this involves an ex-con who got out of prison literally just days before all this happened. He was trying to turn a new leaf. He was going to a job interview. He was on the bus. He had dress clothes on, all that kind of stuff. And while they were driving down the street, he saw that a car flipped. Like, it literally happened directly in front of this bus. He got out of the bus, even knowing that he was going to miss his interview, and he went to go help out whoever was in his car. He took off his shirt and used it to help stop the blood, all that kind of stuff, and potentially helped save this guy's life. Even though I do believe he ended up missing his interview, several days later, I guess somebody reached out and had started up a GoFundMe for him in which he had raised, I guess, over $50,000 for this guy. So I guess skipping the interview might have paid off.
Tucker jumped off the bus and along with others helped that driver out of the car. Knowing he'd miss his interview, he took off his dress shirt and wrapped it around the victim's head to stop the bleeding. When Tucker got back home to Bridgeport, he said a prayer for the victim and thought it was over. A total stranger contacted him and set up this GoFundMe page.
And fun number 1, starting this video off with some inmates who saved a jail guard. He was watching over them, kind of supervising them, I guess, while they were in their cell. There's a couple of them in there, and it turns out while he was doing this, just sitting down, he actually ended up having a heart attack. The inmates immediately knew something was wrong, and they tried to get the attention of somebody else, but nobody was coming, and they decided that the only way to go about this and to help him was to actually break out of jail, I guess, which they literally broke this door down, or I guess broke out of the, jail cell incredibly easily. That should probably be looked over a little bit and maybe reinforced because it didn't even look like it took any effort whatsoever. But they eventually, after getting out, found somebody and got him the help that he needed and saved his life. Obviously, had they wanted to, they could have stolen this guy's stuff, including his weapon, and tried to get out. They could have done some serious damage, but they didn't, and they saved his life instead.
They yelled, banged on their holding cell for minutes, and eventually broke free, not for themselves, but for their guard. Deputies finally noticed the commotion in the basement. First responders arrived soon after.
And then they had to shock me twice to get my heart restarted.
Those are the clips that I have for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you like on this video. If we can break 10,000 likes, that would be insanely awesome. Really appreciate that. Also, make sure to comment down below and tell me which one of these clips was your favorite. Which one of these prisoners was the most heroic when they saved a life or something like that. And if you have any stories of your own about somebody saving a life or doing something really nice or something like that, tell me those down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter. A link to that will be down in the description. Also, make sure to go over and check out the part 1 and 2 of this, because this is actually a part 3. So if you want to see some more prisoners saving lives, then go check that out. Link to that will be down in the description, as well as annotations on the outro screen. But anyways, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later, though. Jabang, bitches.